Holiday is the worst character in the game. This character sucks. I'm never picking Holiday again. Useless. So, Deadlock has taken over my life. All I do is play it all day now. It's so much fun. I'm about 200 games deep now, but I've been getting a little tired of playing the same character back to back to back. Silver, Viscous, Victor. And in an attempt to learn and understand the game better, I decided it would be best to try out some other characters. Infernus, McGinnis, Doorman have all moved up in the ranks of favorites and are pretty much locked in for secondary picks. But I really wanted to challenge myself this time. Having gone through a bunch of different characters and a bunch of different item guides, I thought it would be a good idea to try and solve the problem of who I consider the worst character in the game, Holiday. This character just does not make any sense to me. The barrel, the rope, the jump pad. The only thing that made sense to me was the gun. Who made this character? Now, Deadlock is still very much in development. So why not invest a ton of time and effort into understanding and perfecting a system that can very much change at any moment? So with said time and effort and lost games, I think I managed to figure out Holiday's game plan and skill up on item understanding. For anyone new or looking up information, let's quickly go over Holiday's kit. First up is the barrel, a seemingly physics-based projectile. Roll it on the floor or throw it in the air, and it kind of follows your momentum. The barrel has a quick arm time, indicated by the red flash. At this point, it'll detonate on contact with an enemy unit. You can shoot the barrel to detonate it manually. This allows for an earlier explosion, but the quickest timing you can get can be a little tricky. There is one more thing about the barrels, but I'll talk about that later. Next, we have the bounce pad. You place it down, get a big bounce, and land with a slam. You can also reuse the pad again, but you won't get the slam. Great for getting in and out, great for getting good angles on enemies, and you get a little bit of splash damage on the landing. Crack Shot is her third ability, which gives Holiday a passive damage boost to headshots. That's kinda it. There's a slow, but I swear anyone who gets hit with this will start moving faster. It's big damage. It goes on a quick cooldown once you hit a headshot, whether it's on an enemy or a creep. Lastly is her ult, the lasso. Similar to Bebop's hook, it allows you to wrangle up someone and bring them over to wherever you want. You're completely mobile when someone is latched on, allowing you to chase and bring back around corners. You also get a little boost to the duration if you use a jump pad while someone is hooked, and the enemy is stunned for the whole duration. Sounds pretty handy. But what about first impressions? At a glance, I would say Holiday wants to use her headshot to do massive damage, either contributing the damage to teamfights or picking off weaker opponents, using the barrel to keep away and stay distant, jump pad to get in and out with ease, and her ult to pull in problem targets to get focused down. I went into my first game thinking I would knock people's heads off, and I just grew. In the last video I said, I think Holiday's the worst character in the game. The headshot passive just being on cooldown all the time because of minions. The barrels are too slow and do nothing. The lasso not being any better than Bebop's hook, and definitely not worth the 2.5 minute cooldown. And the jump pads, I didn't see the value in it. I thought it didn't fit into the character's kit at all. Like, I'm trying to land headshots. Doesn't moving around like that make it infinitely harder to get them? That's the game one Holiday experience. But I've played a bit more now. I've got a better understanding of the game as a whole. So what's the plan here? How am I going to take the character I consider the worst and turn her into something that's not only playable, but also fun to play? Well, Phase 1 is probably the first step for anyone picking up a new character. And that would be to actually learn how to play them, their kits, and what they do. For Holiday, that would mean getting used to the barrel physics, how to use the jump pads better, land more ults, try to land as many headshots as possible, and make sure it's not on cooldown when you need it. That's the direction I went. For the first few games, I went full headshot build, avoiding the barrels and jump pads as much as possible. My aim isn't horrible. I've been hitting the Kovacs pretty hard, and when I need to land a headshot, I can land one within the amount of bullets I have. So it's not like I'm never landing them and never seeing the extra damage. To make a long story short, this build did not last long. During a hard-fought, lost game, I received some friendly advice from a McGinnis who said, you should only go barrel Holiday. Firstly, why would I take advice from someone running Gun McGinnis? Secondly, he might actually be onto something. Turns out, one of the things that had me saying, I think Holiday's the worst character in the game, was the use of the melee hit on the barrel. I would say for about 2/3 of my games with Holiday, I didn't know that the melee launched the barrel way over yonder. The description says to detonate, so my brain assumed that meant walk up to it and hit it after a throw, not to melee right after pressing barrel, to then launch it. So that was problem number 1, which then solved problem number 2, the jump pad. I thought just jump in and jump out, maybe get a headshot, or use it to reload and stay safe, which it is. It is all those things. But now that I know the melee bomb hit, the jump pad is also used to get good angles on your enemies, which provides more openings to attack over cover. And just from the amount of playing, I've been getting better at hitting the ult. I believe it goes through minions, so that's at least one up on Bebop's. But I still feel like it doesn't account for that lengthy of a cooldown. So now what? Taking the advice from that Gun McGinnis, I used my newly found knowledge of the items in Deadlock to put together my own build. This build would focus on getting the biggest blasts you can get, both in size and damage, and to throw these out as fast as possible. Now knowing that the melee barrel launch is 100% mandatory for playing this character, I'll be sending these barrels at angles you didn't even know existed. Using the jump pad to launch slam dunk bombs on top of everyone, not being so focused on headshots, but they will be needed when they have to happen. This works so much better than Headshot Holiday, probably because of all the spirit scaling, but not even just that. It makes Holiday so much more fun to play. It's not perfect. Even with 12 item slots, it's not easy to fit everything in here, but I think that's kind of the point. The build does fall off in the late game. Now, I don't think that's a Holiday issue. I think Spirit just falls off harder than weapons in the late game, so you really got to get games wrapped up quick. Something that added a little pep to my step was the use of the bounce pad's landing damage. You really have to get comfortable with the character before you start diving people. Otherwise, you're just going to jump right into the middle of danger. But it's a nice extra little bit of damage option. Kind of turns you into a pseudo lash. This is the build to play. And clearly, this is the intended way to play the character. All of the spirit scaling was probably the giveaway. But when I see a cowboy, I think this is a gun character. There's going to be the quick and the dead. I don't care if they have a magic gun. I mean, maybe if the gun was modeled and it looked like it paired with the barrel somehow, I would maybe get it. But like, magic cowboy is not a very common archetype, if it even exists at all. Now, I know this build is not going to come as a shock to any of y'all. I'm still trying to climb out of Emissary. But let's go through the game and talk about build order, ability level ups, and situational picks. Still kind of a work in progress, but It's been working for me. Right out of the gate, you're going to level up Crackshot. I know, it sounds crazy. The barrel build starts with gun. I would have liked to only put 1 point into it, but the game forces 1 level up before your next ability. It's fine. So obviously you don't want your first item to be something like extra charge. You won't have that barrel to throw for a little bit. Restorative shot is usually my first buy. Bit more damage, sustain in lane. A little tricky on Holiday since she is more of an aim dependent character. You could go for regen as an alternative. If you're up against guys who like to melee, go rebuttal. And this will get you to your next buy without question. For level ups, we're going to put 2 points into barrel, then 1 into pad, then 1 into ult, and then start to max barrel. When you finally get a point into barrel, building spirit items is a priority. I like to get extra charge next. Expansion, spirit burst, extra spirit. If you're finding it easy to land barrels early, you can probably go for spirit burst or extra spirit before expansion. If you find you're taking chunks of damage at some point while building these 3, I would stop building these items and go for an armor upgrade first before continuing. When you've got these, you want to build active reload. Faster reloads, more ammo, more fire rate, and some bullet lifesteal. Great item on Holiday. Probably the last mandatory buy in this build. If things are going smoothly and it's applicable, go for slowing Hex next. Makes it a little easier to land headshots, makes it a little easier to land a kill, and it builds into Vortex, so we can get a touch more range on our barrels. But you can flex this slot into more survivability, another counter item, disarm, anvil, whatever you think you might need, if not slowing Hex. Next course of action, mid-game. When you have barrel maxed, the next to max is Crackshot. But you want to put 1 more point into pad to get the extra cooldown first. I leave just that 1 point in jump pad for the rest of the game. Max out Crackshot, and then max out Lasso. Next buys are pretty simple. You should look into getting recharging Rush first. This helps bring back some charges early. Yes, it could proc on jump pad, but that probably won't happen often or when it counts. I'm hoping. Improved Spirit is a quick upgrade, so you might already have it if you have some extra funds, but you can pick this up whenever. We're really looking to get Tank Buster and Greater Expansion. Rapid Charge is on the to buy list, but you can get this last. Since with Max Barrel and Extra Charge already, you have quite a few charges. At some point, you're going to want to pick up Spirit Rend. Take a look at resistances on their side to tell when you'll need it. If you see a few 30+%, I would pick it up pretty soon. You could go for Weakening and Crippling Headshot. I just prefer Spirit Rend. It's cheaper and doesn't rely on getting headshots. When landing one could be a problem in team fights or against mobile opponents. For late game, we want to go Boundless Spirit, Spirit Burn, Reverb on Barrel, and Vortex Web if you have Slowing Hex. And that's pretty much it. You're going to be pretty close to the end of the game by the time you're buying these. We've got about 10 slots out of 12 that are used up, so your last 2 should be used for situational engagements, something like Spellbreaker or Metal Skin. Ricochet could fit in somewhere, but it's maybe not the best choice. Healbane, Toxic, Inhibitor, if you've got big healthy boys, or a lot of lifesteal / healing, on top of Spirit Burn. If you picked up extra stamina early, it does not need to be upgraded if you don't want kinetic or mastery. Sell it if you want room for something else. I did try Leech, but I find it didn't add enough survivability to be worth it. I've been thinking about Infuser for survivability. I haven't tested that out yet. These other choices have been working out fine so far. You could sell Rush for Transcendent cooldown, because now we have more items that could use a little boost in the cooldown department, but it's not necessary. And that's kind of it. That's all that's been on my radar. If you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. I'm only a month into the game, and I've been just trying to learn it on my own. Just picking up information from other people's guides in-game. Haven't been watching too many videos, so let me know how I did. So after all that, all those games, working on character builds, what do I have to say about Holiday? She's definitely not the worst character in the game. In fact, she's pretty fun. But I would say she has a bit too much going against her with her kit. I would rather pick Viscous over her any day, and will probably not touch Holiday again. But she is in the tank if I ever need a deep pull. The barrels are a bit too much work. I would rather just point and click and have my stuff work where I want it. The gun isn't very fun. Also, I hate alt aim. Something about it just feels off with Holiday. But she's not even close to a bad character. I think she just needs a bit more. 1. Make the barrel description say the melee is pretty much essential to playing her. I really thought you were supposed to do something with that slow moving barrel. To the point, that's what had me saying, I think Holiday's the worst character in the game. I kind of don't want the barrel to knock back. I kind of want the slow built in. Maybe both? Having to buy a slowing item is not something I really want to do. 2. I think Crackshot needs to be better. Give it a stun or something. It needs the extra damage and should stun. Not like a big 1-2 second stun. I'm talking like Dota 2 Sniper 0.01 stun. The concussive shot on his auto attack. I want someone to use their big ult and for me to just shoot them out of the sky with a well-placed headshot. That would be so much fun. Also, she needs like fat bullets. I want to be shooting bullets the size of Shrek's fingers. The crosshair needs to go from this to this, and not just in the customized setting. I mean, this is the size of the bullet you're shooting. Basically, a shotgun spread, but in the form of one bullet. That might actually be the most controversial thing I've said here. Yeah, it looks unfair, but she needs unfair. 3. Her lasso should work more like Mo and Krill's stun. She still needs to land the hook, but cut the movement aspect and just have her lift the dude up. Make it a big, I have this guy right here ability, so everybody can see him and focus him down. If I had a nickel for every lasso I pulled back into the party, only for them to have no clue I even had a lasso, I would have a fistful of nickels. Change it to Hangman. Just land the hook, hang the guy up, make it obvious. Maybe my problem is a voice chat thing, but I have it turned off. Maybe I'll turn it on in the future, but I don't want to hear another word from any of these feeding freaks right now. Holiday is just too fair right now. Yes, the jump pad and barrel angles are kind of unfair, but her ammo count, fire rate, dependency on headshots is kind of ridiculous. You have characters with similar fire rates like Doorman and Mirage, but both of these characters don't rely on headshots to work. Yes, there's still that added damage and extra debuff stacks on headshots. I feel like if you give a character an ability that requires a headshot to function, they should have some kind of crutch or perk to actually getting them. All of these top characters have some sort of scum that just cheeses you right off. Holiday is all fair. You have to learn the angles of barrels, fair and square. You have to aim true and just land the headshots. You have to land her ult. There's nothing about her that has me saying, I hate that Holiday has that. If she gets a cheese buff, I'll try her out again. But for now, I'm done. If you want to try the build, go right ahead. But that was my Holiday journey. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you liked, leave a like. I've got more Deadlock stuff coming. It might take a little while, but there's definitely a bigger project in the works. So subscribe if you want to see that. And leave a comment. Like, obviously, I'm not a pro player or a master of the game. If you have any suggestions to the build or mistakes that I made, please let me know. I would actually love to hear it. But that's it. Thanks again. Show some love if you want. And I'll see you in the next one.